Good morning, everyone. I'm Jay Scott, Macon County State's Attorney. I have here with me my first assistant, Nicole Cronke, my chief investigator, Nate Binkley. We have Lieutenant Kavanaugh from the Illinois State Police. We have Dr. Janelle Norman from the NAACP, Mayor Julie Moore-Wolf, and Decatur Police Chief Jim Getz. I have a prepared statement I'm going to read. We'll have copies of that as well as a transcript of the in-car video from the July 11th officer-involved shooting that we'll be handing out at the end of the press conference. We're also going to be showing you the in-car video after the statement is read. On July 11th, 2016, at 1:06 a.m., Decatur police officers responded to 106 South Hilton Street after receiving a report of a person with a firearm in a residential neighborhood. The incident ended with the shooting injury of Lonnie Mitchell by a Decatur police officer. The Illinois State Police, as an outside agency, conducted a thorough investigation into the incident at the request of the Decatur Police Department, generating voluminous reports. The information gathered by state police investigators includes a complete audio and partial video recording of the incident by a Decatur police officer's squad car recording system and interviews of the two responding officers as well as 8 civilian witnesses who stated they were present at the time of the shooting. I, as well as other members of the Macon County State's Attorney's Office, have personally and thoroughly reviewed the investigative material generated by the Illinois State Police. We also met with Illinois State Police investigators to discuss the facts and circumstances of this case. The findings of the Illinois State Police investigation are as follows. On July 11, 2016, at 1:06 a.m., Officer Andrew Whitmer received a report from a concerned citizen that a man was in possession of a firearm and was involved in an argument with a female at 106 South Hilton. The concerned citizen described the man as a black male who was dressed in camouflage shorts. This same concerned citizen had provided information to the Decatur Police Department earlier that month of persons in that neighborhood possessing firearms, which led to an arrest and the recovery of a loaded handgun. This concerned citizen had also provided information to the Decatur Police Department in May 2016 of a man with a gun in that neighborhood, which also led to the arrest of that subject and the recovery of a loaded handgun. Upon arrival, Officer Whitmer, who was dressed in full police uniform, parked his marked squad car in the 800 block of East Main. He then walked towards the driveway of 106 South Hilton, made contact with persons present in the driveway of that residence, and was advised that the subject involved in the argument had left. While Officer Whitmer is speaking with persons present in the driveway of 106 South Hilton, a person later identified as Lonnie Mitchell, who was dressed in camouflage shorts and no shirt, can be seen on the squad car video walking westbound toward the squad car and crossing Main Street diagonally. Officer Whitmer called out to Mitchell and then ordered him to stop. Officer Whitmer was able to clearly observe what appeared to be a handgun in Mitchell's waistband. Officer Whitmer ordered Mitchell to stop walking a second time. Mitchell disregarded both directives and continued walking to a location in the street which was outside the view of the squad car camera. From this point forward, as a result of Mitchell walking away from the camera's view, his actions were not recorded on the squad car video recording. Officer Whitmer, however, remained within full view of the squad car camera, and for that reason, all of his actions were video recorded. Further, all verbal statements of Officer Whitmer and most of Mitchell's verbal statements were audio recorded by the squad car camera. After Mitchell, still visibly armed, walked away from the view of the squad car camera, Officer Whitmer, consistent with his police training, drew his service weapon and ordered Mitchell to put his hands on top of his head and to interlock his fingers. He then broadcast via police radio that he was involved with a subject armed with a gun. Mitchell then stated, "I have a pistol," quote, "I have a pistol on me, I have a knife on me," unquote. Officer Whitmer stated, quote, "Leave your hands up, don't go for that, or you'll get shot, man, don't do that," unquote. Mitchell responded, quote, "I told you I got a knife. on me, I got a pistol on me, and come grab it," unquote. Officer Whitmer then stated, "Okay, I'm not going to come grab it. I want you to lay down." Mitchell disobeyed the officer's directive and refused to lay down. On the audio recording, civilians can be heard in the background advising Mitchell to comply with the officer's directives. Officer Whitmer can then be heard stating, quote, "Interlock your fingers behind your head, listen to me," unquote. Mitchell again refused the officer's directive and stated loudly, quote, "I cannot, I have a knife on my hand, I cannot," unquote. At this point, Officer Jason Danner arrived on scene and is visible on the squad car video recording. Officer Danner also immediately observed what appeared to be a handgun protruding from the waistline of Mitchell's shorts and, as a result, consistent with his police training, drew his service weapon. At that point, both officers observed Mitchell reach his left hand over to his right hand to release a knife that had been attached with a spiked wristband to his right wrist. Officer Whitmer can then be heard stating, "No, bring your hands up, away from that." At that point, the knife can be heard making impact on the pavement on the audio recording. Officer Whitmer can then be heard loudly and clearly ordering Mitchell, quote, lay down, unquote. At this point, both officers observed Mitchell's right hand move directly toward the pistol. The officers' observations were corroborated by 3 separate civilian witnesses who also observed Mitchell's hand move toward the pistol. Officer Whitmer, believing that Mitchell was reaching for his pistol, fired 1 shot with his duty weapon, impacting Mitchell on the right side between his chest and hip. Officer Danner, recognizing a potentially life-threatening situation, was also prepared to discharge his service weapon at the moment Mitchell was shot by the other officer. Mitchell fell to the ground upon being shot, and officers immediately requested an ambulance. Officers began providing first aid treatment to Mitchell while the ambulance was en route to the scene. Decatur ambulance personnel arrived at the scene within 7 minutes after the shot was fired and transported Mitchell to St. Mary's Hospital. Mitchell was airlifted to Springfield Memorial Medical Center at approximately 3:22 a.m. Mitchell is expected to make a full recovery from his injury. After the pistol was removed from Mitchell, it was found to be a BB gun rather than a firearm. This BB gun has the appearance of a firearm even when viewed in close proximity and in broad daylight. Both responding officers and every civilian who came into contact with Mitchell that evening believed the BB gun to be a firearm. In addition, Mitchell referred to the BB gun as a pistol 3 separate times during this incident when communicating with law enforcement. At no time did he state he was in possession of a BB gun. Lonnie Mitchell's cell phone and his Facebook page contained photographs taken prior to July 11th of himself, and those photographs are on the screen, with a knife held to his wrist by a spiked wristband, as well as photographs of himself with what appear to be handguns protruding from the waistband and pocket of his pants. These photographs depict a similar visual of what the officers observed when they encountered Mitchell on July 11th. While being treated at St. Mary's Hospital on July 11th, on 2 separate occasions, Mitchell stated to 2 Decatur police officers that he was reaching for his, quote, pistol, unquote, at the time he was shot. On July 13th, 2016, special agents of the Illinois State Police met with Mitchell at Memorial Medical Center in Springfield, where he was recovering following surgery. At that time, Mitchell refused to answer any questions. Pursuant to Illinois state statute, a law enforcement officer is justified in the use of force likely to result in death or great bodily harm when he reasonably believes such force is necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself or another. After a careful review of reports and materials generated by the Illinois State Police investigation, it is the conclusion of the Macon County State's Attorney's Office that Officer Whitmer reasonably believed that the force he used was necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself or another when he discharged his service weapon at Lonnie Mitchell. Any reasonable person would have believed that the use of deadly force was necessary under these circumstances. Officer Whitmer acted appropriately and professionally, and his actions were consistent with police training. Considering the totality of the circumstances, namely the nature of the original call from a concerned citizen of an armed man in a residential neighborhood, the refusal of Mitchell to comply with the commands of a uniformed police officer, Mitchell's statements that he was armed with a knife and a pistol, the repeated warnings by the responding officer, and the threat perceived by both responding officers to themselves and to bystanders in the area when Mitchell began to reach for what any reasonable person would have believed was a firearm, Officer Whitmer was justified in the use of deadly force. Mr. Mitchell's conduct that night in refusing to obey the lawful commands of Officer Whitmer constitutes the criminal offense of resisting or obstructing a peace officer. After consulting with Decatur Police Chief Jim Getz, we are in agreement that, given the circumstances involved, no criminal prosecution of Mr. Mitchell will be initiated. We are thankful that no loss of life occurred during this incident and that Lonnie Mitchell is expected to make a full recovery. We commend the actions of the concerned citizen who notified the police for standing up and providing information to law enforcement in the effort to keep our neighborhoods safe. We commend the civilian witnesses present at the time of the shooting for cooperating with the investigation. We further commend the Decatur police officers present at the scene for immediately providing potentially life-saving first aid to Mr. Mitchell prior to the arrival of ambulance personnel. The Macon County State's Attorney's Office and all members of local law enforcement are personally grateful for the peaceful response shown by the citizens of Macon County while this investigation has been ongoing. We also greatly and sincerely appreciate the efforts of the many community leaders who took the initiative to urge our residents to exercise patience and restraint after this incident became known to the public. The exemplary response of this city and county is to be commended and should serve as a model to other communities. I am very proud to be a part of this community today because of the calm and unified response its citizens have exhibited following this incident. Now, at this time, we're going to play the in-car video. The first time, we're going to play it in segments, and then we'll play it again from start to finish uninterrupted. This is Officer Whitmer exiting the squad car.
Excuse me, sir. Stay here, please. Whoever that is, walk away real quick. Thank you. We had a call of an argument out here between male and female. Could you bring your hand out of your pocket, please? Hey, partner, hey. Who's running up in the house now? Could everybody keep their hands out of their pockets for them, please?
Right now, here with the person that's arguing, they gone.
Okay. Who was that person? Another guy that was over here.
The individual just walking into the street is Mr. Mitchell.
Hey, don't look at me like this. Goddamn not.
Hey, sir. Hey, sir.
Yeah.
Come here. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Put your hands on top of your head. Interlock your fingers on top of your head. Male subject 1032. Leave your hands up. Don't go for that, you'll get shot, man. Don't do that. Okay. I'm not going to grab it, I want you to lay down. Interlock your fingers behind your head. Listen to me.
And at this point is when Officer Danner comes into view of the camera.
I cannot. Right here.
No, bring your hands up away from that. Lay down. Lay down.
Now we're going to play it one more time, start to finish.
Excuse me, sir. Stay here, please. Whoever that is, walk away real quick. Thank you. We had a call of an argument out here between male and female. Could you bring your hand out of your pocket, please? Hey, partner, hey. Who's running up in the house now? Could everybody keep their hands out of their pockets for them, please?
Down here with the person that arguing, they gone.
Okay, who was that person?
There's another guy that was over here. Hey, don't look at me like this. Goddamn not.
Hey, sir? Hey, sir?
Yeah.
Come here. Stop! Stop. Put your hands on top of your head. Interlock your fingers on top of your head. Male subject 1032.
Hey, pistol on me. Have a knife on me.
Leave your hands up. Don't go for that, you'll get shot, man. Don't do that.
I told you I got a knife on me. I got a pistol on me.
Okay.
Grab it.
I'm not going to grab it. I want you to lay down. Interlock your fingers behind your head. Listen to me.
I cannot. I have a knife on my head. I cannot. Right here.
No. Bring your hands up away from that. Lay down. Lay down.